Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Matt Bernier, the DRF.com Formulator Race of the Day for Thursday, March the 16th is race number 7 at the Great Race Place, Santa Anita. Let's take a look at this field, Matt, because this is a tremendous betting race. You can make a case for 8 or 9. Very
difficult to find out who's going to take the lion's share of the money in here. I think at the end of the day, this is a race where you just need to make sure, don't take anything too short. Don't settle for 2 to 1 or 5 to 2 on a horse that may or may not be good enough. This, you can go a number of ways.
And friends, head on over to the Race of the Day event page on DRF.com. Download those free Formulator past performances and handicap along with us in post position order. Overflow field, a couple of horses on the also eligible list, but we'll begin down towards the rail with the number 1 Candy Boss. Candy Boss has raced twice on turf, but we haven't seen her since the end of July, but you have to expect fresh speed in a relatively paceless race.
Yeah, the only race she's won thus far was forwardly placed. It was on a wet, fast dirt track. I think she shows speed from the inside, just sets things up a little bit for the stalkers.
Horse that beat her last time out did come back to win an optional claiming event with an 82 buyer speed figure, but we'll see what we get off the layoff. I wonder if she'll need a race. The 2 is Ashley Sassy, a horse that could be compromised by the lack of pace in this race. She is a true one-run closer that hasn't won in a long time.
Yeah, the blinkers are coming off for the first time in her career for Peter, and maybe they're trying to shake her up a little bit or wake her up. She has 0 speed, and that pace could certainly compromise her chances. I think if you're going to use her underneath only.
I thought if she was going to get it done, it would be last time out at Golden Gate, where she was favored. It was a track where every race was won by a horse coming from off of the pace, and she made her run, but she fell short again, beaten 3 lengths. If you're an Ashley Sassy's fan, however, at 12 to 1 on the morning line, here's a positive formulator fact for her hot trainer, Peter Urton, 21% at Santa Anita at this current meet. Past 5 years, older runners moving from synthetic to turf, 38%, and a $2.72 return on investment. The number 3 is Little Voice. Little Voice made her North American debut at Del Mar. I believe it was closing day of the Del Mar fall meet, and she ran an okay third, finishing ahead of 3 next out winners.
Yeah, I thought she was fine. She was a little bit late with the lead change when she got out into the clear and went on with it. I wonder if she's ultimately going to be the favorite when it's all said and done, just simply because we haven't seen her really all that much here in North America. I think she's fine. I think she makes a lot of sense in here. Won't be surprised if she wins, but I don't want her at a short price.
And she's 7 to 2 on the morning line. The favorite in this race, I wouldn't be surprised, in the 3 to 1 to 7 to 2 range, but it's so wide open. You either have to spread multiple race wagers, and I think from a win end, you're absolutely right, you're supposed to look for a price. But there's a positive formulator fact for Little Voice's trainer, Ben Cecil, over the past 5 years with older turf sprinters off a moderate layoff, 33% and a $4.52 return on investment. Here's Matt Bernier's nickname in college, the number 4 Plastered. She's won 3 out of her last 4 races, but she was claimed for 40 by Jerry Hollendorfer and went to the bench.
Went to the bench. That's obviously got to be a little bit of a concern, but I like the fact that this is a horse that going 2 turns has a little bit of speed. Whenever we get these turnbacks, I want positional speed when they're routing. Now, when you turn them back, they're probably going to come from a little bit farther out of it, but they're not going to be coming from 150 out. She's interesting. I wonder how good she actually is. That field she beat hasn't come back all that great, but who am I to doubt Hollendorfer and Gary Stevens?
She won sprinting on dirt earlier in her career, and I think Matt makes a very, very good point. This horse has speed. Maybe not need the lead speed, but she's going to be close, and if the pace shakes out the way we think it is with not a lot of speed, this horse could be in with a big chance turning into the stretch. The 5 is Anita Partner, and Anita Partner had a good, solid professional win last time out on February the 2nd. That pace setter didn't want to quit, and Anita Partner just wore her down late. Now she's turning back, and we like cutbacks going down the hill.
Yeah, she kind of fits the same profile as Plastered, where you've got positional tactical speed going 2 turns. Now we turn back. I think that works out very well for her. Like you say, the runner-up that day did not want to give in. She went and got her. 3rd place runners come back to win with a 73 buyer. I suppose the same question goes for Anita Partner, as I have anyway, for Plastered. Is she this good? I think she is. She doesn't have to be a superstar to win in here, but I can understand anybody that has their reservations.
Number 6 is Discats on the Square, and we're coming up on 2 years now for the last victory of Discats on the Square. But the good news for her is she does have a little bit of speed, and I think her form's a little bit dirtied up. 2 starts back, she was on the dirt. It was a sealed, sloppy track. She caught a fast pace. She hadn't been seen in a few months, and she showed big speed before tiring. And then last time out on the turf, she raced on a good turf course, but she must have been on the chase 4 wide all the way around the turn. She was in with a big chance in the stretch, and then she backed up a little bit late. Maybe a result of that ground loss. I think she's up close. I think she's got a big shot at 10 to 1.
I think she's forwardly placed as well. I like her in here. I picked her second. My concern with her 3-4 times going down the hill every time she's there and she gives up ground late. And I wonder if the distance is going to be her Achilles heel. I think she's a really nice sprinter. I think she fits in here with these. I'm just afraid that maybe she's better if you could get 6 furlongs in Southern California. You can't anymore without Betfair Hollywood Park, but I think she fits in here. I just wonder about the distance.
That's an interesting point. Both lifetime wins came going 5.5 furlongs on the dirt. Maybe a moderate to slow pace propels her that extra furlong. The 7's Longstocking, and I'm going to be forgiving for Longstocking's most recent star in December the 4th. They stretched her all the way out to 1 1/8 miles. She broke from the far outside post. She must have been 4 wide coming out of the chute, wide and in between on the turn, and Johnny V didn't seem like he was beating this one up in the stretch. She's turning all the way back, but her lack of speed may work against her.
Yeah, her lack of speed certainly hurts. I guess this is the kind of horse, though, that I look at and say, if she takes a lot of money, she just does nothing for me. Her 2 downhill turf sprints most recently, 2 and 3 starts back, neither one of them were bad, but they weren't good. It's not like she did anything spectacular in there. I understand she ran into Watch This Cat, who down the hill is really, really sharp. She's not quite as good on the dirt, but this horse has only won in gates of wire fashion, and that was going 2 turns on dirt. I don't want a short price on a horse that I just don't know how good she actually is.
And she's 9-2 on the morning line. She figures to take a good amount of money. But one of the also-rans from that most recent race did come back to win. The 7th place finisher returned to win at this level with an 80 buyer. The 8 is Dolce Arabe, a horse that has not beaten another horse in her last 2 races. Although, to be fair, she was 58-1 in her Southern California debut. And 2 starts back, she was in against some tough ones, most notably Unbridled Mo. Maybe getting back to the turf will work for her, and she did show a little bit of speed last year.
Yeah, she wasn't terrible with Pletcher on the turf on the East Coast. My concern is I don't ever like to see, off of a long layoff, you come out here, you go out, you're beaten by a country mile, and then the short comment says bled.
Yep.
And you're bleeding through the Lasix. I just want no part of this horse.
Her most recent start on turf was way back in May. She was the beaten favorite at Gulfstream in a very, very weak field. So she might have her work cut out for her in this more competitive group. The 9's Tale of Papa Nick. Now, Tale of Papa Nick has done some very good work going down the hill in the past. She has a little bit of speed, and she was just overmatched last time.
She certainly was. You see Enola Gray, you see Smooth It in there. Tail of Papa Nick is sneaky in here because I think the only way that she can win is in gate to wire fashion. She has to make the front. She's only actually won twice. She was put up via DQ for the other time. If you think there's a lack of pace in here, I wonder if Valenzuela just gets her out of there and says, we're going right to the front. If she gets out there, I think she's interesting.
And if this race wasn't tough enough, we got 2 X Factors making their North American debuts on the outside. The 10's Betty Draper, and Betty Draper's only win overseas came over a synthetic track in France. She was owned by Godolphin at the time. They put her through the sales. She sold for about $150,000. James Cassidy now has Betty Draper. I'm not sure what we're going to get from her.
I'm not either. You know, she's 0 for 3 on turf. She's 1 for 1 on synth. That came in gate to wire fashion. That came on a synthetic surface. I just kind of look at it and say, you know what, she's getting the Lasix. I know Jim Cassidy does reasonably well overall with these horses once they get here, but first time over, he's like 1 for 15 with the foreign shipper. She just doesn't do anything for me, and I think she's going to take money because she's a fresh face.
Of the foreign invaders, I prefer the 11, Khaleesi. Now, we've seen it a lot of times. These South American bred horses, they come over here, they are thrown to the wolves right away, and they find our stakes horses a little bit too much. I like the placement by Felipe Souza. This filly showed a little bit of ability last year, second in a Group 1. They're throwing her in her entry-level allowance condition. Maybe she fits right here, and I like this distance for her.
The interesting thing for her ultimately is going to be to see where she's positioned. Breaking from the outside, you're going to have some options for Tiago Pereira. The interesting thing for me anyway is you go back to Valentine's Day, she worked a half mile in 45 and 3, then they backed off in the 3/4 work, and then they cranked her up a little bit again, got 59 and 2. I wonder if she's going to be pretty close to the pace, and if she is, she's a major player.
And who knows what the fractions were in that race last time out, that Group 1, but she was right up and on the pace in the 2-path and just was outrun late. Maybe a filly that found the distance a little bit too much, and she's cutting back in this spot. Pick time in a wide open race. Let's see where you're going in the DRF.com Formulator Race of the Day. Anita Partner from just off.
Yeah, I'd like to think that the turn back is going to be very beneficial. Jeff Mullins, his barn's cooled down a little bit, but he's still having a very good meeting at Santa Anita. Second off the bench. Tyler Bays, I think, is going to put her in a good position. I think he does well down the hill. I went 5, 6, 7, 3.
The 6 Discats on the Square lacks a winning profile, to be sure. It's been a long time between drinks for this 6-year-old mare, but I think she's rounding back into her best form in the 3rd start of the form cycle, perhaps compromised by a wide trip over a good course last time out. I'm going to give her a shot. She's 10-1 on the morning line. Matt's top pick, the 5 Anita Partner, is 8-1 on the morning line, and I'm going to go 6, 5, 3, and 11. And if you are playing the Thursday race of the day from home, no better way than DRF Bets. New subscribers, you get a $300 sign-up bonus, and all you got to do is head on over to drf.com/trifecta. Approximate post time for the race of the day, the 7th at the Great Race Place, Santa Anita, 4:04 Eastern. Good luck.